Are you eating what you believe is a healthy diet? Whole grains, fruits, maybe even seeds, and yet your energy is dropping, your weight feels harder to control, and digestion just doesn't feel the way it used to? Here's a surprising question I want you to sit with for a moment. What if one of the smallest foods in your kitchen could quietly reprogram how your body handles sugar, inflammation, and aging, but not in the way most people think? Today we're talking about chia seeds, and specifically what happens when seniors eat chia seeds daily for just 7 days. And no, this isn't another superfood miracle story. In fact, some of the most important changes happen behind the scenes at the level of your metabolism, gut lining, blood vessels, and hormones. Here's why this matters. As we age, our bodies don't respond to food the same way they once did. Insulin becomes less efficient. The gut lining becomes more permeable. Muscle mass slowly declines while inflammation quietly rises. And many seniors are told to simply eat less or move more without ever addressing the root cause, metabolic friction inside the body. Chia seeds enter this conversation not because they burn fat directly or magically lower cholesterol, but because of how they interact with physiology. These tiny seeds influence how fast glucose enters your bloodstream, how your gut bacteria communicate with your immune system, and how your liver processes fat. That's a very different conversation than calories or carbs alone. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your metabolism as a busy highway system. When traffic flows smoothly, energy is steady, inflammation stays low, and repair systems function well. But with age, accidents, bottlenecks, and poor road maintenance slow everything down. What chia seeds do, when used correctly, is not add more cars to the road. They change traffic patterns, slow dangerous spikes, and create smoother metabolic flow. And this is where most people get it wrong. They sprinkle chia seeds on yogurt or oatmeal and expect weight loss. When that doesn't happen, they dismiss them entirely. But what the research actually shows is that chia seeds work upstream, affecting satiety hormones like GLP-1, insulin signaling, bile acid metabolism, and even endothelial function in blood vessels. Over the next few sections, I'm going to walk you through what really happens inside your body during 7 consecutive days of chia seed consumption, especially if you're over 50 or 60. We'll talk about blood sugar stability, gut repair, inflammation, muscle preservation, and even cognitive resilience, all grounded in human physiology, not hype. And importantly, I'll show you how to use chia seeds properly: timing, quantity, preparation, so they work with your metabolism, not against it. So if you're serious about aging with strength, clarity, and metabolic control, not just living longer, but living better, stay with me. Because what happens after 7 days may not show up on the scale, but it absolutely shows up where it matters most. Here's what's really going on inside your body when you eat chia seeds for 7 days, especially if you're over 50. Most people think blood sugar problems only matter if you have diabetes. That's a myth. In reality, blood sugar volatility affects energy, memory, fat storage, and even how fast you age. And as we get older, our ability to handle glucose becomes less flexible. Not because we're eating more sugar, but because insulin signaling slows down. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine pouring honey onto a flat plate versus pouring it onto a sponge. On the plate, it spreads rapidly and overwhelms the surface. On the sponge, it's absorbed slowly and evenly. Chia seeds act like that sponge inside your digestive tract. When chia seeds come into contact with liquid, they form a viscous gel made of soluble fiber. This gel doesn't block nutrients, it paces them. Carbohydrates are absorbed more slowly. Glucose enters the bloodstream at a controlled rate, and insulin doesn't need to spike aggressively to manage it. What the research shows is that slowing glucose absorption improves insulin sensitivity, not by forcing the pancreas to work harder, but by reducing the demand placed on it. Human studies on soluble fiber, including chia, consistently show reduced post-meal glucose spikes and improved glycemic control, particularly in older adults and people with insulin resistance. And this matters for fat storage. Here's the physiology most people never hear. Insulin isn't just a blood sugar hormone. It's also a fat storage signal. When glucose spikes sharply, insulin rises sharply, and fat cells get the message to store energy. When glucose rises gently, insulin stays calm, and the body is far more willing to burn fat between meals. After about 3 to 7 days of consistent chia seed intake, many seniors notice something subtle but important. Fewer energy crashes, less intense sugar cravings, more stable focus between meals. That's not willpower. That's metabolic rhythm returning. Now here's the mistake I want you to avoid. Chia seeds do not cancel out sugar. Adding them to sweetened yogurt, cereal, or juice won't protect you. The benefit comes when chia seeds are used to support an already reasonable meal, not rescue a poor one. The simplest protocol looks like this. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, soaked in water or unsweetened almond milk for at least 20 minutes. Consume before or with your largest carb-containing meal of the day. This timing matters. By introducing chia seeds before the carbohydrates arrive, you're setting up that sponge effect in advance. And hydration is critical. Dry chia seeds without enough fluid can slow digestion too much or cause discomfort. Think of water as the activation switch. One more point seniors should understand. Stable blood sugar protects the brain. Repeated glucose spikes damaged blood vessels, including the tiny ones that feed memory and cognition. By smoothing glucose entry, chia seeds quietly support long-term cognitive resilience. If this explanation is helping you see food differently, you're not as calories, but as signals, consider subscribing to the channel. I post evidence-based content like this every day to help you optimize your health naturally, without medication first thinking. In the next section, we'll move from blood sugar to something just as important, the gut lining, and why chia seeds may reduce inflammation in ways you don't feel immediately, but your body absolutely notices. Here's something most seniors are never told. Chronic inflammation often starts in the gut, long before it shows up as joint pain, fatigue, brain fog, or cardiovascular disease. Let me explain what's really going on inside your body. Your gut lining is only 1 cell thick, that's it. 1 layer separating the outside world, food, bacteria, toxins, from your bloodstream. When you're young, that barrier is tight and responsive. But with age, medications, stress, and years of processed food exposure, the junctions between those cells loosen. This is what people refer to as increased intestinal permeability, or leaky gut. Now here's the key insight. When that barrier weakens, fragments of bacteria and undigested food particles slip into circulation. Your immune system sees them as threats. Inflammation rises quietly, systemically, persistently. Chia seeds intervene at this root level, not by suppressing inflammation, but by changing the environment that creates it. Let me use an analogy. Think of your gut lining like grout between tiles. Over time, the grout cracks. Chia seeds don't replace the tiles, but they help restore the grout. When soaked, chia seeds produce a gel rich in soluble fermentable fiber. This fiber isn't digested by you, it's digested by your gut bacteria. And when beneficial bacteria ferment this fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids, especially butyrate. Butyrate is one of the most important molecules for gut health. It fuels colon cells, tightens the gut barrier, and directly reduces inflammatory signaling. What the research shows is that diets increasing soluble fiber intake consistently improve markers of gut integrity and reduce systemic inflammation, particularly in older adults. Here's what's fascinating. You may not feel this change in the first few days. There's no dramatic sensation. But beneath the surface, immune activity begins to calm. That's why some seniors notice improved joint comfort, less bloating, or even better sleep after about a week. Not because chia seeds treat those symptoms, but because the inflammatory load is lower. Now, an important clarification. More fiber is not always better. Overloading the gut, especially if someone already has slow digestion, can backfire. That's why the dose matters. The most gut-friendly protocol looks like this. Start with 1 tablespoon daily, not more, always soaked, never dry, ideally consumed earlier in the day, when digestion is strongest. If you experience bloating, that's not a failure. It's feedback. Reduce the amount, increase hydration, and allow your microbiome time to adapt. Here's another overlooked benefit. As inflammation decreases, insulin sensitivity improves indirectly. Inflammation interferes with insulin receptors, so by repairing the gut barrier, chia seeds help glucose and insulin signaling work more smoothly, reinforcing the benefits we discussed earlier. This is why functional medicine always asks, what's driving the inflammation, not just how do we suppress it. Chia seeds don't act like an anti-inflammatory drug. They act like a terrain shifter, making your internal environment less hostile, more resilient, and easier to regulate. In the next section, we'll explore appetite and satiety, and why chia seeds don't reduce hunger by shrinking your metabolism, but by restoring hormone signaling that naturally declines with age. One of the most frustrating experiences seniors share is this: I'm eating less than I used to, so why am I still hungry, gaining weight, or thinking about food all the time? Here's what's really going on inside your body, and it has very little to do with willpower. As we age, appetite regulation hormones become less responsive. The stomach, intestines, pancreas, and brain are constantly communicating through chemical messengers. When that communication weakens, hunger signals become louder and satiety signals become quieter. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your appetite system as a volume knob. When everything is working well, hunger rises when fuel is needed and fades when enough energy has arrived. With age, inflammation, and insulin resistance turn that knob up, even when the tank is full. Chia seeds help not by suppressing appetite artificially, but by restoring signal clarity. When chia seeds absorb liquid and expand, they increase the viscosity of stomach contents. That physical expansion gently stretches receptors in the stomach and small intestine that signal fullness to the brain. This triggers the release of satiety hormones, especially GLP-1 and peptide YY. What the research shows is that soluble fiber increases GLP-1 activity, the same hormone targeted by popular weight loss drugs, but naturally, gradually, and without shutting down your metabolism. This is a crucial distinction. GLP-1 does not just reduce appetite. It slows gastric emptying, improves insulin sensitivity, enhances communication between the gut and brain. After about 5 to 7 days of consistent chia seed intake, many seniors notice feeling satisfied with smaller portions, less urge to snack between meals, reduced evening cravings, and importantly, no shakiness, no weakness, no rebound hunger. That's because chia seeds do not signal scarcity. They signal stability. Here's another layer most people miss. Chia seeds contain a balance of fiber, fat, and protein. This combination stabilizes blood sugar while also providing slow, sustained energy. When blood sugar stays steady, cortisol, your stress hormone, stays lower. And when cortisol is lower, appetite becomes more rational. Now let's talk about the mistake. Many seniors try to use chia seeds as a meal replacement. That's not their role. Skipping protein or calories entirely can lead to muscle loss, one of the fastest ways to accelerate aging. The correct use looks like this. Add chia seeds to a protein-containing meal, not as a standalone snack, not late at night. A practical example: Greek yogurt with chia seeds and berries, eggs with vegetables and a chia-enhanced smoothie, a protein shake with soaked chia blended in. This approach supports satiety without suppressing muscle signaling. And that's critical because muscle is not just strength. Muscle is glucose disposal. Muscle is metabolic health. Muscle is longevity. If this perspective is helping you rethink hunger, not as a personal failure, but as a biological signal you can influence, consider subscribing to the channel. I share practical, science-based strategies like this every day to help you age with strength and clarity. In the next section, we'll move to the liver, the metabolic control center, and why chia seeds quietly improve fat processing in ways most blood tests don't immediately reveal. If there's one organ that quietly determines how well you age, it's the liver. The liver decides whether calories get burned or stored, whether fats circulate safely or accumulate dangerously, and whether inflammation stays contained or spreads system-wide. And here's the reality for many seniors. You can be thin and still have a metabolically stressed liver. Let me explain what's really going on. With age, the liver becomes less efficient at processing fats, especially in the presence of insulin resistance. Fatty acids linger longer than they should. Triglycerides accumulate, bile flow slows. This creates a traffic jam inside liver cells, impairing everything from cholesterol balance to blood sugar control. Chia seeds influence this process in a surprisingly indirect but powerful way. First, through soluble fiber. When soluble fiber reaches the intestine, it binds bile acids. Those bile acids are made from cholesterol in the liver. When they're excreted instead of reabsorbed, the liver has to pull cholesterol from circulation to make more bile. That's one reason soluble fiber is associated with improved lipid profiles. But here's the deeper layer. The fermentation of chia fiber by gut bacteria produces short-chain fatty acids, which act as metabolic signals. These signals travel back to the liver and improve fatty acid oxidation, the liver's ability to burn fat instead of storing it. What the research shows is that diets rich in fermentable fiber reduce liver fat accumulation and improve markers of metabolic health, even without weight loss. That's important because liver health often improves before the scale changes. Now let's talk about omega-3s. Chia seeds are one of the richest plant sources of alpha-linolenic acid, ALA. While ALA isn't identical to fish-based omega-3s, it still plays a role in reducing inflammatory signaling in liver tissue and improving lipid handling. Omega-3s help shift the liver away from fat creation and toward fat utilization. They reduce the expression of genes involved in lipogenesis, fat making, and support mitochondrial function, which is where fat is actually burned. After about 7 days, this doesn't mean fatty liver is cured. But what does begin to happen is improved metabolic flexibility. The liver becomes better at switching between fuel sources. Here's the analogy. Think of your liver like a warehouse. When shipments arrive faster than they're shipped out, inventory piles up. Chia seeds don't stop shipments. They improve logistics. Now, a critical mistake to avoid. Adding chia seeds to a diet high in refined carbohydrates, alcohol, or late-night eating will blunt their benefit. The liver needs a window of rest to do repair work. The most supportive protocol looks like this. Consume chia seeds earlier in the day. Avoid heavy eating within 3 hours of sleep. Pair chia intake with whole foods, not sugar. 1 tablespoon daily is enough. More does not equal better. Here's something encouraging. As liver fat handling improves, many seniors notice less abdominal fullness, improved fasting glucose, better morning energy. Not dramatic, but steady, sustainable shifts. In the next section, we'll move from the liver to the blood vessels and why chia seeds may improve circulation and blood pressure by enhancing endothelial function, not by acting as a stimulant. When we talk about aging, people often focus on bones or memory. But blood vessels are one of the most important and most overlooked determinants of how well we age. Every organ in your body depends on healthy circulation. Your brain, your heart, your muscles, even your gut lining all rely on blood vessels that can expand, contract, and deliver oxygen efficiently. With age, those vessels tend to stiffen, not suddenly, gradually. And when that flexibility is lost, blood pressure rises, oxygen delivery drops, and fatigue increases. Here's what's really going on inside your body. The inner lining of your blood vessels is called the endothelium. Think of it as a dynamic living surface, not a rigid pipe. A healthy endothelium produces nitric oxide, a molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and widen. This keeps blood flowing smoothly and reduces pressure on the heart. But inflammation, insulin resistance, and oxidative stress damage this lining over time. Nitric oxide production declines. Vessels become less responsive. Circulation suffers. Chia seeds support this system quietly, not by acting like a stimulant or medication, but by reducing the forces that damage the endothelium in the first place. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Imagine blood vessels like flexible garden hoses. When they're new, water flows easily. When they stiffen and narrow, pressure builds. Chia seeds don't increase water pressure. They improve hose flexibility. One mechanism is through omega-3 fatty acids, specifically ALA. Omega-3s reduce inflammatory signaling within blood vessel walls and support endothelial function. This improves nitric oxide availability and vascular responsiveness. Another mechanism is indirect, but just as important. By stabilizing blood sugar and lowering systemic inflammation, chia seeds reduce glycation, the damage caused when glucose binds to proteins in blood vessel walls. Glycation stiffens vessels and accelerates aging. Smoother glucose curves mean less vascular wear and tear. What the research consistently shows is that diets rich in soluble fiber and omega-3s are associated with improved endothelial function and modest reductions in blood pressure, particularly in older adults. Now, this doesn't mean you'll feel a dramatic change in a week, but some seniors notice warmer hands and feet, less lightheadedness when standing, improved exercise tolerance. These are signs of better circulation, not more stimulation. Here's a critical point. Chia seeds work best for circulation when sodium, hydration, and movement are aligned. No food works in isolation. A supportive daily approach looks like this: adequate hydration throughout the day, light movement after meals, even 5-10 minutes. Chia seeds earlier in the day, not late at night. Avoid combining chia seeds with ultra-salty processed foods. That works against vascular flexibility. Another overlooked benefit is oxygen delivery to muscles. Better circulation means muscles receive nutrients more efficiently, which supports strength, balance, and recovery, key factors for independence as we age. This is why circulation is not just a heart issue, it's a whole body longevity issue. In the next section, we'll talk about muscle preservation and hydration, and why chia seeds may help seniors maintain strength and cellular resilience even without intense exercise. One of the fastest ways the body ages is not wrinkles or gray hair. It's muscle loss. After the age of 50, most adults lose muscle mass every year unless they actively protect it. And muscle isn't just about strength. Muscle is a metabolic organ. It clears glucose from the bloodstream, supports balance, protects joints, and even communicates with the immune system. Here's what's really going on. As we age, muscle cells become less responsive to anabolic signals like protein, insulin, and mechanical load. This is called anabolic resistance. Even if seniors eat enough protein, the muscle doesn't always hear the message. Chia seeds don't build muscle directly, but they support the environment muscle needs to survive. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Think of muscle like a houseplant. Protein is the fertilizer. Exercise is sunlight, but without water and healthy soil, the plant still withers. Chia seeds improve the soil and water dynamics. First, hydration. When chia seeds absorb liquid, they form a gel that holds water and electrolytes in the digestive tract longer. This improves cellular hydration, which is essential for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and nutrient transport. Many seniors are chronically underhydrated, not because they don't drink water, but because water passes through too quickly or electrolytes are imbalanced. Chia seeds help slow that process. Second, mineral support. Chia seeds provide magnesium, potassium, calcium, and phosphorus, minerals required for muscle signaling and contraction. These aren't muscle builders, but without them, muscles fatigue faster and recover slower. Third, blood sugar stability. Muscle is one of the primary tissues responsible for clearing glucose. When blood sugar spikes repeatedly, muscle becomes insulin resistant. By smoothing glucose entry, chia seeds help preserve muscle's ability to respond to insulin, which supports nutrient uptake and reduces muscle breakdown. Now here's the subtle but important benefit. Chia seeds provide small amounts of plant-based protein and amino acids. On their own, this isn't enough. But when combined with adequate dietary protein, chia seeds enhance protein utilization by reducing inflammation and improving insulin signaling. That's why seniors often report less muscle soreness, improved endurance, better recovery between activities. After about a week, the body becomes slightly more efficient. Not stronger yet, but more resilient. Here's how to use chia seeds correctly for muscle support. Always pair them with protein. Consume earlier in the day or around activity. Keep the dose moderate, 1 tablespoon daily. Do not rely on chia seeds as your protein source. They are a supporting player, not the star. Now let's talk about hydration timing. Consuming chia seeds late at night can increase overnight urination or digestive discomfort. For most seniors, the best window is morning to early afternoon. If this information is helping you rethink aging, not as inevitable decline, but as a modifiable process, consider subscribing to the channel. I share practical, evidence-based strategies every day to help you maintain strength, clarity, and independence naturally. Now that we've covered blood sugar, gut health, appetite, liver function, circulation, and muscle support, it's time to bring it all together. In the final section, I'll summarize what 7 days of chia seeds really does and give you a simple challenge to test this for yourself. Let's step back and look at the full picture. Because when you understand why something works, it becomes easier to use it wisely. When seniors eat chia seeds daily for 7 days, the most important changes don't happen on the scale. They happen inside the systems that quietly determine energy, weight control, and longevity. Blood sugar becomes more stable, not forced down, but smoothed. That alone reduces fatigue, cravings, and insulin stress. The gut lining begins to strengthen, lowering inflammatory noise that interferes with joints, mood, and metabolic signaling. Appetite hormones recalibrate, allowing you to feel satisfied without shrinking your metabolism or losing muscle. The liver becomes more efficient at processing fat, reducing metabolic congestion that so many people carry without knowing it. Blood vessels regain a bit of flexibility, improving circulation and oxygen delivery. And muscles, the engines of healthy aging, receive better hydration, mineral support, and glucose signaling. None of this is dramatic, and that's the point. Chia seeds don't act like a drug. They act like a systems-level support tool, nudging the body back toward balance when used correctly. And correctly matters. 1 tablespoon, soaked, earlier in the day, paired with real food and protein. That's enough. More is not better. Late at night is not better. Using chia seeds to compensate for poor food choices is not better. This is functional medicine thinking. Don't overwhelm the body. Support it. Here's your simple challenge. For the next 7 days, use 1 tablespoon of soaked chia seeds daily. Consume them with or before your largest meal. Stay well hydrated. Pay attention, not just to weight, but to energy, digestion, and hunger. Track how your body responds, not emotionally, physiologically. Do you feel steadier between meals? Is digestion calmer? Is energy more consistent? Those are signals your metabolism is becoming more efficient. Remember, healthy aging isn't about chasing youth. It's about preserving function, strength, clarity, resilience for as long as possible. If this video added value and helped you understand your body better, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You'll join a community focused on optimizing health naturally, using science, not shortcuts. And as always, start small, stay consistent, and let your body show you what works. I'll see you in the next video.